Okay, yet again unto the breach, turn 8 as Nazca. Throat's been a little sore, so we'll see how this recording goes. Quick overview of what happened this turn first of all. Most importantly, 5, 6, 7, 8 air gems in total from Facier and Ys. I said last turn that I was going to be making some trading attempts to try and keep the air gems going. This was the result of that. Doesn't mean I owe some people a few favours, but it's going to help us ramp up quickly. Air taxi to Mordor, summon Condors, and then we had 2 battles. First and foremost in Helmshire. Now this was the relatively powerfully defended town province with a good cohort of heavy cavalry, but we had this front line of Hatun Runa for the first time, and you'll see how it goes. So Hatun Runa just sit, humans at the front. I think they actually managed to kill some with the slingstone there somewhere, which is remarkable. Anyway, these guys come in, Hatun Runa then drop down. That just stalls the heavy cavalry while the Sacreds do their job back here and start murdering the commanders. The militia start rushing back, but they're really no threat to our Sacred God. And this is Hatun Runa doing their job right here. They're just tar pitting while the Inca slowly smites them to death, and the Sacreds massacre all these guys back here. Independent armies are routed. You'll notice now the Hatun Runa are having taken a fair number of casualties from the heavy cavalry rout off, but really we don't worry about that. Essentially, this battle is over at this point. So, we lost 8 Hatun Runa, 1 Condor warrior, and 2 human warriors. The human warriors are really obsolete, so I don't mind, nor do we mind about these free-spawn slaves. 22 of them ran away. Now, if you remember our reflections before this game started, Hatun Runa with no morale buffs do tend to rout on contact. This was them routing after a few rounds of combat, so not bad. 15 of them survived, so we lost another 7. So, losses of 15 slaves. Yeah, that's basically a loss of 15 gold. I don't really mind. To take quite a valuable province. So Helmshire taken 90 income and helps us to establish this border here. So very happy. Meanwhile, battle in Tifia. Can't remember if this one was interesting. Yep. So this was a collection of militia, archers, and again this time we got good number of commanders, 3 commanders and a priest. And it's just going to be our similar playbook here. Because we didn't have cavalry in this province, it wasn't as important that we have a Hatun Runa line to delay them, because we gambled that we can finish the battle before the infantry make contact with the rear line. Sacreds drop, priest dies. This single Condor warrior decides to take on all of the commanders at once, but the others eventually come in and battle over. So, 1 Condor warrior, 2 spearmen lost to kill a province defended by 49 independent units. So we're starting to find our pacing now that we're deploying larger sacred groups. I probably rushed it a little bit earlier. This was a better experience. So, took Helmshire, 90 income. Took Tifia, 72 income. And my forward positioning with Ulm. You'll notice some lovely black hunters here. We didn't get to scout them, so we don't know what Machaka's Bless is, but this confirms that he's doing spider-based expansion. So, we'll see what sort of bless he has for those, but that's very cool. I'm glad we get to see some black hunters. So let's talk about diplomatically what's happening and then what our plan is for this turn. So diplomatically, I was approached this turn by Machaka to potentially push out on Ulm, because Ulm is over here beating the crap out of Man, who is, I believe, here? Anyway, Ulm's taken their Awake Expander and their armies and have conquered almost all of this, apparently, and are in Man's cap circle, which suggests to me they have taken either this or this, and probably this as well, which is actually a really impressive grip of territory when you think about it. So, Machaka is considering going in here to put some serious pressure on Ulm, and has basically said they want me to go in as well. Now, obviously, Ulm has been trading with me a lot to this point, and I'm not particularly keen to go in. Nor do I have the forces to make a really good show of this. But, you know, GC is a good player, and he's got some spiders who I presume are blessed up, and he could probably make a show of it. So, I'm going to offer to go along with it only because I value this alliance. This is probably not a good strategic move for me. I'd probably rather it didn't happen and that both parties instead focused on, say, Celeria or maybe even Ulm operating on some other front. I don't know. But not towards me and not towards Machaka. So ideally this won't happen, but I will basically offer my services to M'Chaka because that's what allies do. It's not an alliance if you only do things that make sense for you as well, right? Like, loyalty isn't loyalty if you only do it when it's easy. So I will offer to go along with this, but if something's negotiated, that would be great for me. No other diplomatic news other than, hooray, look, Ashdod's all the way over here. So Ashdod started here, Ermor is around here, which means Ashdod is in or very close to in Ermor's cap circle. Look, I said it was going to happen, and it looks like it's happening. So there we are. We have to continue playing our own game in the meantime. So, casting Summoning Condors again. We had our first set of beautiful Condors come out this turn, and we've actually divided them up between a couple of commanders, and we're going to attempt one expansion this turn onto Doomna, this very valuable province. So, what we're doing is from Helmshire, we're bringing our Inca home, and our Inca will collect a new set of Hatun Runa, because that line is now fully diminished, and collect a bunch of Condors to bulk out the Sacreds, because at the moment there's only 6 Sacreds left in this group. Coming back home will allow that Inca to collect 20 Condors and become an expansion party again. The humans who can't follow will patrol the unrest down here just to bring the income up a little bit. Because I really value every bit of gold I can, scouts will keep moving around. Eventually we'll want to scout this. We're coming off this throne here in terms of scouting, and this looks like a heck of a throne. This is possibly a 3-pointer. This is 240 units. It's got a Titan defending, Springhawks, heavy cavalry, Griffins. Like, this throne's not messing around. So this is probably a 3-pointer, and we don't want to go near that shit. But we also don't want Ashdod or Ermor to claim it. So we'll see how that goes as the battle goes on. For Doomna, we are deploying this party out here, the freshly built troops from our capital, and what that allows us to assemble is 30 Hatun Runa, plus this collection here, the Long Deads that we summoned, and because we don't have an Inca spare, we're going to send out our Royal Monkey. Now, that's fine, because the Royal Monkey needs to start site searching anyway, so you need to move it out of the capital. It'll provide Divine Blessing to this 20 Condor group that we have on hold and attack rear, who will hopefully snipe the commanders, and it will then Air Shield, Twist Fate, just because I really don't want to lose it, and then Watery Death, which is the Smite spell. So just start throwing Smite a bunch, and hopefully causing this force to rout. Other than that, nothing particularly interesting happening this turn. Patrolling some unrest, continuing to build our palisade and build new scouts, and those scouts will continue to disperse because I really want to get some intelligence on what's happening across the rest of the map. Other than that, life improving. We're at turn 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've made it up to the turn count. That's not good enough, but it's reasonable considering that we're now producing basically an additional expansion party every turn, and they're more powerful than the expansion parties we used to produce. They're now 20 Condors, plus 30 odd slaves, plus 5 Condor warriors. That's 25 Sacreds and 30 blockers every turn. That's not bad, and yeah, we're looking good. So that's the turn for now. Come back to you in turn 9, and we'll see how it all develops. Okay, yet again unto the breach, turn 9 as Nazca, and this turn, Ermor sent out basically a motivational speech to their undead legions to say they have been attacked by Pythium and Ashdod. Now, that's great, I encourage you to read that, but really, it's most important in confirming our original suspicions, which is Ashdod and Pythium are trying to attack Ermor. That said, I've started to hear word that the original Ashdod thrust against Ermor may have been blunted by Sacred Lictors, but I'm awaiting confirmation on that. So let's go through our turn and then geopolitical happenings. So, Summon Condors, hooray. Every turn this happens is just great. We finally named our prophet. We did what we should have remembered to do a long time ago. We named the Mulki Priestess, who was the Ukla who died earlier on, a prophet, which makes her Holy 3, which allows her to call Sapires. So we will now get, popping up here, to Sapphire every turn, and I could not be happier about that fact. So, there was only one battle. It was a battle in Dumna. So this is the very valuable province, defended by a big flock of war elephants that we decided to attack with our Mulkey and our first group of Condors. This was the first trial of the Condors. And what you'll see in a moment is the Hatun Runa will nobly go to do their duty by jumping all over the elephants along with the Condor warriors and just complicating their lives as the Condor warriors try and stab them. But more importantly, the Condors just mow through. Like, there was an army here. There were slingers here. There was a whole force here, and it's now gone, which causes all the elephants to break and run. Now, not before they had caused almost all of our slaves to rout and inflicted casualties, and they'll do some trampling on the way out, but they do get stunned by the thunder weapons, which makes them harmless, and then they do get murdered. So, when you think about it, that was quite a lot of cash worth of defenders. And we lost 7 Condor warriors, which hurts. That's more than a turn of production. 1 Condor, and those 20 Condors killed 39 slingers. They deleted the slingers, the heavy infantry, and the commanders really, really quickly. It was beautiful. 16 Hatun Runa died, and then another 3 on retreat, so 19 gold worth of Hatun Runa. Like Crimea River, even one of these Condor warriors is worth more than that. So that was great. We took Dumna. Random events, 54 gold. Now, when you get random gold events, it scales based on your income scale. So your growth, your sloth, your order, all that sort of stuff. So we have terrible scales, so even when we do roll a good event, we don't get much. But I'll take it. And then we got a handful of death gems. Always good. I might trade them off. I might keep them. We've started patrolling. So, income is now up to 873, and because it is early winter, our income will continue to go up. That is because we've chosen heat scales, but we have a cold preference. So the colder it gets, the closer our land gets to our original preference, which means our income goes up. So we really enjoy winter. It is the highlight of our lives. 873 income, starting to get respectable. We've got 1 fort on the way. Over here, producing scouts. Over here, one of our scouts got disease, so we're going to suicide him into this town to just get a solid idea, because that's going to be another target to get some dosh. And then we're going for 2 expansions this turn. We're taking this group here. Now, really, in an ideal world, I'd stop with the Mulkey and site search here, but expansion is more important than 1 turn of searching, so he's going to lead this remaining party of Condor warriors and Condors, still more than 20 sacreds, and take Glistening Dew Forest, which is a 47 income province, and help potentially reinforce this front. Meanwhile, in the capital, we've assembled this very quite strong army, and I've made it strong, 1, to limit attrition, and 2, because if we do go ahead with an Orm operation, which is still being negotiated at this point, I want this nearby because this will be a substantial raiding force against Orm. So the Inca will take this force and hit 202 here. Ys has landed here, and I've agreed not to assail Ys in these 2 provinces, and they are of the understanding that I will be taking 202. So I'm going to do that. You'll note I'm still not prioritizing these provinces here because obviously I'm owed them by GC, so no reason to send forces there straight away. And this wasteland here is probably worthless anyway, but we can see Ashdod's dominion leaking out, which is a side effect of the fact that there's probably a golden idol sitting around here, just puking its dominion all over that. But you know what, their scales will be just as bad as mine, so, you know, really don't care. Scout going into GC's province, only because I probably want to hook it around south and get some intelligence down here, and we'll get to confirm what I expect, which is there is a fort going up here anyway. So, we'll soon have a fortified border down here. 1 palisading construction here. Also, now got a palisading construction over here in 197. Reasonable income province, spaced away from the capital, so it'll get some resources. It's not particularly relevant to Nazca, but we'll take it. And will help control this narrow spine of land here defensively, especially since there's a river crossing to get this way. So really, if you want to break into Nazca's land on a wide front, you need to either, if you don't have possession of this province, so if you're Ulm, for example, you'd need to come up through here, cross where the fort will be, before you could roll up the rest of this land. So I think that's a good place for a fort. We'll temple it eventually. Fort coming up here, 2 months until that one's complete. Summoning Condors again, taking us down to 0 air gems, which is really unfortunate. So I basically guarantee we won't get another set of Condors next turn, but that's okay because we do get a set this turn, an Inca coming up, so the Inca will be able to take the 20 Condor warriors, 20 Condors, the 4 Condor warriors, a few more spearmen, and a clutch of Hatun Runa, maybe these archers, I'm not sure yet. Won't be able to take the Sapires because they can't lead undead, and you want to group up a couple of them anyway. But the Sapire are going to be useful in that when I eventually get a Huron, I'll be able to get a small group of Sapire, a Huron, and maybe get a water-breathing item and use that to hit some of these water provinces, which would be really handy, especially since we've put Dominion on Nuptia 180, and there's 142 income there, and it's only Tritons, so we want that. So a couple of Sapire should make that ours. So other than that, yep, 2 province expansion this turn. Determining whether or not GC wants to go into a war. I can see he's pushed right into Black Forest, and that's Ulm right there. So he's now in Ulm's cap circle. Strong negotiating position if ever there were one. We'll see if he cuts a deal. I would like him to cut a deal. I'm not keen on this war, but as I said, you got to stand for something or you fall for anything. So if he calls for aid, Ulm never technically got a nap out of us, just a land division. So I might actually jump around the land I promised and start raiding them in the areas that we haven't negotiated over. But if there is a negotiated settlement, then I will happily talk to Ulm and finally seal a nap, which would be great. So yeah, not much to say about this turn. Waiting for more intelligence on what's happening up here. Haven't heard what's happening in the water yet, but I imagine it's either exciting or it will soon be exciting. We're recovering our expansion, and if we take these 2 this turn, I'm going to say we're back on track given Nazca's state. We'll have 2 forts on the go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 provinces at turn 9, going to get ahead of the turn count if we take whatever we need, and then hopefully keep up the momentum with another expansion party coming out soon. So that's turn 9, thank you very much, and we'll come back in turn 10.